Hello guys, welcome to another video from our channel. Here's Tanker Vehicles Exam 1. In this video we will provide you with all the questions and answers needed in order to pass. Here you will able to study and thus prepare for your examination. If this video is helpful, make sure you give it a thumbs up, comment below, and don't forget to subscribe for more educational videos. Commercial Driver's License. Practice Test, Tanker Vehicles. Question: Empty trucks? Option number 1, may require a longer stopping distance than full trucks. Option number 2, have better traction when stopping than full trucks. Option number 3, stop quicker when you use only the emergency or parking brake. The answer is option number 1, may require a longer stopping distance than full trucks. Question: when you load the small tanks of a cargo tank equipped with bulkheads, you should check the option number 1, water content. Option number 2, air-to-fuel ratio. Option number 3, distribution of weight. The answer is option number 3, distribution of weight. Question: when your cargo tank has baffles, what handling effect do you expect? Option number 1, there will be less side-to-side surge than in a tank without baffles. Option number 2, there will be less front-to-back surge than in a tank without baffles. Option number 3, the surge will be slower than in a tank without baffles. The answer is option number 2, there will be less front-to-back surge than in a tank without baffles. Question: a baffled tanker is one with? Option number 1, bulkheads with holes that let the liquid flow through. Option number 2, separate tanks inside the trailer. Option number 3, hollow balls floating in the liquid to slow movement. The answer is option number 1, bulkheads with holes that let the liquid flow through. Question: you are driving on a clear night. You must dim your headlights from high to low. You should adjust your speed so you can stop within. Option number 1, the distance you can see ahead. Option number 2, the length of your vehicle. Option number 3, the distance you will travel in the next 15 seconds. The answer is option number 1, the distance you can see ahead. Question: the movement of the liquid in partially filled tanks is called? Option number 1, surging. Option number 2, splashing. Option number 3, waves. The answer is option number 1, surging. Question: you should know the outage needed for the liquids you carry because? Option number 1, tank baffles are not always legal with outage. Option number 2, some liquids expand more than others when they get warm. Option number 3, some of the heaviest liquids do not need any outage. The answer is option number 2. Some liquids expand more than others when they get warm. Question: you are driving a tanker truck. The front wheels begin to skid. Which of these is most likely to occur? Option number 1, the truck will roll over. Option number 2, you will continue in a straight line and keep moving forward no matter how you steer. Option number 3, liquid surge will pull the tank from the truck. The answer is option number 2, you will continue in a straight line and keep moving forward no matter how you steer. Question: a tank endorsement is required for certain vehicles that transport? Option number 1, passengers. Option number 2, liquids or gases. Option number 3, hazardous materials. The answer is option number 2, liquids or gases. Question: hauling liquids in tankers requires special care for which of the following reasons? Option number 1, high center of gravity. Option number 2, liquid movement. Option number 3, both of the above. The answer is option number 3, both of the above. Question: a smoothbore tank is also known as? Option number 1, an aluminum tank. Option number 2, a baffled tank. Option number 3, an unbaffled tank. The answer is option number 3, an unbaffled tank. Question: when should the driver of a tanker that has lost its brakes use a truck escape ramp? Option number 1, always. Option number 2, only if the tank has baffles. Option number 3, never. The answer is option number 1, always. Question: you should be very cautious when driving smoothbore tankers, especially when you are? Option number 1, driving against the wind. Option number 2, going uphill or downhill. Option number 3, starting or stopping. The answer is option number 3, starting or stopping. Question: which of these statements about tankers are true? Option number 1, much of the load's weight is carried high up off the road. Option number 2, tankers can turn over at the speed limits posted for curves. Option number 3, both of the above are true. The answer is option number 3, both of the above are true. Question: How does liquid surge affect the handling of a tanker? Option number 1. Surge can move the truck in the direction the liquid waves move. Option number 2. Surge increases the wind drag of the truck. Option number 3. Surge lets you turn corners tighter. The answer is option number 1. Surge can move the truck in the direction the liquid waves move. Question: the best way to take a curve in a tanker is to slow to a safe speed before entering the curve and then dash as you go through it. Option number 1, brake lightly. Option number 2, speed up slightly. Option number 3, downshift twice. The answer is option number 2, speed up slightly. Question: side-to-side surge can cause? Option number 1, suspension system failure. Option number 2, overspeeding. Option number 3, a rollover. The answer is option number 3, a rollover. Question: an emergency forces you to stop your tanker quickly or crash. You should? Option number 1, use only the emergency brakes. Option number 2, use controlled or stab braking. Option number 3, brake hard until you lock the wheels. The answer is option number 2, use controlled or stab braking. Question: when loading a tank that is divided into smaller tanks by bulkheads, the load should be. Option number 1, heaviest at the front. Option number 2, heaviest in the middle. Option number 3, heaviest at the rear. The answer is option number 2, heaviest in the middle. Question: separators with openings or holes in the that are between compartments in a tank are called? Option number 1, baffles. Option number 2, bulkheads. Option number 3, barriers. The answer is option number 1, baffles. Question: the liquid in a tank with baffles can still have what kind of surge? Option number 1, front to back. Option number 2, top to bottom. Option number 3, side to side. The answer is option number 3, side to side. Question: the most important thing to look out for on any tank vehicle is? Option number 1, low tire pressure. Option number 2, peeling paintwork. Option number 3, leaks. The answer is option number 3, leaks. Question: the amount of liquid you should put into the tank depends on? Option number 1, the amount the liquid will expand in transit. Option number 2, legal weight limits. Option number 3, the weight or density of the liquid. Option number 4, all of these. The answer is option number 4, all of these. Question: the reason a tank trailer should not be loaded completely full is because? Option number 1, the baffles won't be as effective. Option number 2, your load may shift more. Option number 3, liquid expands and can leak out of the trailer. The answer is option number 3, liquid expands and can leak out of the trailer. Question: which of these is particularly easy to roll over? Option number 1, a gas tanker. Option number 2, a truck carrying frozen liquid. Option number 3, a liquid tanker. The answer is option number 3, a liquid tanker. Question: a tank vehicle is defined as a vehicle which transports? Option number 1, liquid. Option number 2, liquefied gas. Option number 3, liquid and liquefied gas. The answer is option number 3, liquid and liquefied gas. Question: why are special skills and knowledge required to drive a tanker? Option number 1, tankers have a high center of gravity. Option number 2, tankers have an increased risk of rollover. Option number 3, liquid surge can occur in tankers. Option number 4, all of the above. The answer is option number 4, all of the above. Question: why are baffles used in some tankers? Option number 1, to make the interior of a tanker easier to clean out. Option number 2, to control forward and back liquid surge. Option number 3, to eliminate side-to-side liquid surge. Option number 4, to allow you the hauling of mixed loads. The answer is option number 2, to control forward and back liquid surge. Question: how does a baffled tanker handle differently than a tanker without baffles? Option number 1, the baffled tanker will have less side-to-side surge than the unbaffled tanker. Option number 2, the baffled tanker can handle curves faster than an unbaffled tanker. Option number 3, the baffled tanker will have less front-to-back surge than the unbaffled tanker. Option number 4, the baffled tanker will handle the same as the unbaffled tanker. The answer is option number 3, the baffled tanker will have less front-to-back surge than the unbaffled tanker. Question: which of the following is a liquid tight divider between compartments inside of a tank? Option number 1, bulkhead. Option number 2, baffle. Option number 3, separation walls. The answer is option number 1, bulkhead.